The war had ended, but its scars lingered across the galaxy. On the barren plains of the planet Kala, the coalition of worlds and the human-led Terran Defense Force stood together, battered but victorious. The Kilorian Dominion, once thought indomitable, lay in ruins. Their fleets shattered, their cities smoldering, their armies scattered. Among the surviving soldiers stood Captain Marcus Hale, a decorated human veteran. He had fought for 6 years on alien worlds, watching friends die and empires fall. Now, as the Coalition Council gathered to celebrate the victory, Marcus and his fellow officers were invited to choose their rewards, gifts of honor offered by the newly liberated worlds. The offerings were varied: alien artifacts glittering with ancient power, weapons of legendary design, fortunes of precious metals, even titles of nobility in alien courts. Many soldiers chose power, wealth, or prestige. But Marcus, weary of endless battles, felt none of it called to him. Then his eyes fell upon the prisoners. Among them, a line of Kilorian women stood, frail and subdued. They had been presented as living reparations, symbols of surrender. Marcus found the practice distasteful, but when the council insisted, he approached the line. Most of the women held themselves with defiance or quiet fury. Yet at the far end, a small figure caught his gaze, a woman with torn robes, dirt streaking her pale skin, and eyes so dim they seemed lifeless. She was fragile, trembling, as though the weight of existence itself was too much to bear. "Her," Marcus said. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Even the coalition counselors exchanged uneasy glances. Of all the prizes, he had chosen the weakest, the most broken-looking of them all. "Are you certain, Captain Hale?" a Saurian commander asked, his scaled brow furrowed. Marcus nodded. "I don't want gold or power. I'll take her. She looks like she needs protection, not chains." The council reluctantly approved. And so, the soldier left with the weakest woman at his side, unaware of who she truly was. Middle. Marcus brought the woman to his quarters aboard the Alliance flagship, Resolute. She moved silently, almost like a ghost. Days passed before she even spoke a word. "You could have chosen anyone," she whispered one evening, her voice carrying a strange, melodic lilt. Marcus glanced at her. "And leave you there? Alone, terrified? That's not who I am." She studied him carefully, as if trying to understand something far beyond his words. Finally, she said, "My name is Salira." As weeks turned into months, Salira slowly revealed fragments of herself. She was not just frail, she was brilliant. She could read alien star charts in moments, predict hyperspace currents with uncanny precision, and speak in languages Marcus had never even heard. She carried wisdom that seemed centuries old. Still, shadows lingered in her eyes. She had nightmares, waking in cold sweats, whispering words in her native tongue Marcus couldn't translate. Whenever he pressed, she would only shake her head. Then one day, while the ship was docked on the liberated capital world of Kiros, assassins struck. Marcus and Salira had been walking through a market when a squad of black-clad warriors burst from the alleys, their weapons aimed not at Marcus, but at her. "Get down," Marcus shouted, drawing his plasma sidearm. He fought with the precision of a veteran, dropping 3 attackers before they could close in. Salira, however, did something no one expected. She raised her hand. The air itself seemed to ripple, and the remaining assassins froze mid-stride, their weapons ripped from their hands by an unseen force. With a flick of her wrist, she sent them sprawling across the ground. The entire market went silent. All eyes turned toward her. Marcus lowered his weapon slowly. "Salira, what was that?" Her chest rose and fell, her eyes blazing with a power he had never seen before. I am not what you think I am, she said softly. That night, she told him the truth. She was not a common captive. She was Selira Keloris, the last surviving daughter of the Kelorian Empress, the heir to the throne of the Dominion. Thought dead for years, she had been hidden among refugees, stripped of her titles, forced to wear the guise of weakness. The assassins were loyalists who sought to kill her before the coalition discovered her survival. You chose me, she said, her voice trembling. And now, you hold the future of an empire in your hands. Rising conflict. News of Selira's identity spread quickly. The coalition council demanded her custody, fearing she could ignite a rebellion. Some sought to execute her outright, claiming she was too dangerous to live. Others argued she could be used as a bargaining chip to ensure the Dominion never rose again. Marcus stood between them all. She's not a threat, he said firmly. She's more valuable as an ally than a prisoner. Selira, however, was torn. Her people had seen her family as gods, rulers by divine right. If she revealed herself, factions of the Dominion would rally, some in loyalty, others in hatred. A new war could erupt. But Marcus saw something else. Beneath the burden of her heritage, Selira had a heart that longed for peace. For freedom. Maybe, Marcus said one night as they watched the stars from the ship's observation deck. You don't have to be what they expect. Maybe you can choose your own path. Tears welled in her eyes. And if my choice destroys everything you fought for? Then we fight together, he answered. But the galaxy would not wait for her choice. A rogue Kelorian fleet, loyal to the old ways, launched a sudden assault on the coalition border. They declared Selira their empress, claiming she had returned to lead them. The coalition demanded she speak publicly, denouncing the rebellion. The weight of a throne she had never wanted now pressed down on her. And at her side stood the human soldier who had once chosen her, not knowing her true identity. Climax. Selira stood before the Galactic Council, millions watching across the stars. Marcus was at her side, a silent guardian. She wore simple robes, not royal finery. Her voice, though soft, carried the strength of 1,000 storms. I am Selira Keloris, she declared. Gasps filled the chamber. Daughter of the fallen empress. Heir to the throne you all fear. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. But I will not claim the crown. I will not rule through fear, nor will I raise armies to avenge a broken empire. My people must learn to live, not conquer. To build, not destroy. The rogue fleet's propaganda shattered in that moment. Their supposed empress had rejected them. The rebellion collapsed within weeks, its leaders hunted down not by the coalition, but by Kelorians themselves who were tired of endless war. When the chamber erupted in applause, Marcus turned to her. You did it. No, she whispered, her eyes meeting his. We did it. Ending. Selira was no longer seen as a prisoner, nor as an empress. She became a bridge between two civilizations, the face of a new alliance built on trust rather than dominance. As for Marcus, when offered yet another reward by the coalition, he smiled and said, I already chose mine. In time, legends would tell of the human soldier who passed up riches and power, choosing instead the weakest woman among captives, only to discover she was far more than anyone imagined. But to Marcus, Selira was not a throne, not an empire, not a destiny. She was simply the woman he had chosen to protect.